When we first started this revolution, because it is a revolution, we started about 30 or 40 points down across the United States, right? Yeah. Especially when you're looking at the polling. All the polls said that we couldn't do what we've already done right now, right? And you look back in 2008, they said the same thing about Barack Obama.
The biggest thing that we've been trying to get across to people is that, like, showing up for events, wearing Bernie buttons, like, you know, posting Bernie stuff on Facebook, it's cool, it's great, but, like, if you don't show up to the caucus in 24 days, it's all pretty much meaningless. Like, he needs your vote, and we need as many delegates as possible for him from our state to get him elected.
Yeah, I think people really get a sense that he understands us, the common person, the common person across America. I feel like there's a connection that he makes in his speeches, and he seems to understand the real struggles that Main Street Americans have. So I think people find that honesty and just genuine quality about it.
Perfectly.
I think that I think a lot of Western states are there's a fierce sense of independence out here. I think that folks are not necessarily happy with being, pushed around maybe by folks back east, and Bernie understands that. He's been progressive his entire life. Things like environmental issues here, private prisons, education, and of course the economy. I think Washington is a natural constituency for Bernie Sanders.
Message, right? And his message about fighting to make sure that if kids go to school, right, they shouldn't graduate with 20 or 30 years worth of debt. Mm-hmm. Free college tuition is definitely one of them. The fact that he's fighting to take our country back from the billionaire class and Wall Street, it's very significant because right now people are feeling like this economy is kind of rigged, the political system is rigged, and that things just aren't working how they would envision in Washington, D.C. And then I think the third thing is trying to make sure that if you're working 40 hours per week, you're not living in poverty, right? Right. The fact that he's fighting for a $15 minimum wage and is the only candidate putting his money where his mouth is, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's what is resonating with a lot of people in Washington as well as a lot of young people across the United States of America.
Perspective. This country was founded upon people who just got sick and tired and fed up of the status quo. And they decided to tell the government in power enough is enough. And this has been long overdue for a long time in this country.
Right on.
Long time. And Bernie Sanders has a record of 20 or more years of doing the right thing within government and not being an establishment politician. And so the time has come not only to install Bernie Sanders as their next president, but to tell all these career politicians that are embedded in the establishment that it's time for them. Their seat is no longer welcome to be occupied by them. They need to be thrown out. And I would love to see it through a peaceful revolution.